That's perfect right there. Okay, so Dinner with the Doulas. We are live. We have overcome some serious technical difficulties. It is now 17 after the hour. And we are live with Nurse Eb, who is a big IG influencer. She's doing everything over there on IG. We got Doula Nicole, who is coming from South Carolina. And just two totally great women that I know, and I get to walk underneath the umbrella of being a doula with. So we're going to jump into some questions and some topics tonight. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We are monitoring our Facebook page. We are monitoring the Facebook group. So if you got something to say, throw it down. First question. Okay, so Nurse Eb, tell us a little bit about yourself, ma'am.
So I am known in my community as Nurse Eb. I'm originally by trade a nurse. I've been a nurse for a little bit over 16 years now. Of course, I didn't start out as a doula. I started in trauma, went to adult ICU, and then neonatal ICU, which I absolutely love. I was also a CNA for about 2.5 years prior to becoming a nurse. So like a little bit over 18.5 years to almost 2 years in the field of nursing. And so I bring a lot of my nursing background into my role as a doula, because literally you can't unknow what you know. It's not like you can unlearn it. And so like I apply a lot of that knowledge when I'm helping my moms, when I'm helping my families. And the one thing that I'm really most passionate about is like literally making a change with all the healthcare disparities that exist, the marginalized care that exists, the delivery of care, the quality of care, and the lack of culturally competent care. So I'm real passionate about helping families of color, especially navigate the healthcare system to get what they need, to be able to literally advocate for themselves, because you don't know what you don't know. And so as a doula, I love it because it's just like serving, and I'm a servant by heart. So anyway, I get to serve, help my families, help the birthing persons, give them tools, resources, even if it's information as simple as, hey, you don't have to let them clamp your baby's umbilical cord right away. You know, yes, you can wait. You know, just simple things that people may or may not know. So that's my spiel.
And I think that what you said right there, you know, like something as small as not clamping the umbilical cord right there, that makes a world of difference in the family's experience as well as the baby. And so those little nuggets that you drop is just fantastic. So Doula Nicole, go ahead.
Oh, so I was gonna say, as far as doula, I am a fertility doula, a birth doula. I do assist in the postpartum period, and we are all coaches. We're all fertility coaches as well. So
yes, working in the fertility game. That is wonderful right there. So before I say anything about me, Doula Nicole, I want to hear from you, ma'am. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So my name is Nicole Hunter. I'm a fertility and birth doula. I serve primarily the Charlotte area. And I can only echo everything that Ebony said. It's not too much more that I can add to that. I'm really big on people just being able to self-advocate. I always tell a lot of my families, like, you never get to redo your baby's birthday. You get the one shot. So regardless of whether birth looks the way you think it's gonna look or it goes down a different path, at the end of the day, I just want you to be able to look back and realize that you had a say-so in your birth. You had a say-so in how your body was handled in birth, and that you helped shape your birth story. So that's just really big, that people, you know, can walk away with their own perception and know that even if it didn't go the way that they thought it was going to go, that they made the decisions along the way to help shape that. So
absolutely. I love all that. I love all that. I'm over here trying to monitor Facebook at the same time and listening to you. So real quick about me, my name is Jen. I am in the DC metro area. I help families in Southern Maryland, DC, North Virginia. Why do I do what I do? Okay, so real quick, what it is that I do. I'm an educator, and the way I like to say it, I'm an educator in preventive education. And so everything Nurse Eb said is exactly true. Like, my whole purpose and my whole desire is to make sure that you go into your birth journey with everything that you need in order to be successful, that you know all the things that are kind of hidden behind doors, and not from a fearful perspective, from an eyes wide open. I think it's important that we approach birth, that we approach pregnancy, that we approach our postpartum season with our eyes wide open. And when we can approach that season wide open, there's so much good that we can, simply take in. And there's so much, we'll say, less than positive things that we can avoid for our family and for ourselves. Yeah, I guess that's real quick about me. Is there anything I want else to share? No, I don't think so. First question: how would y'all? Because I'm gonna throw the question to y'all first. How would you describe a doula, and why do women need one?
You want to go, Nicole?
I'll take it. So when I think of a doula, I think of just the formation of the word doula. And to be a doula just means to be a woman's servant. And so when we think about what is a doula is simply a trained non-medical professional that offers emotional and physical support, informative support, doing whatever role that they're serving in. So whether that's fertility, whether that's sibling doula, pregnancy, birth, bereavement, all of those areas. So any area where you're serving a woman, I would say is the role of a doula. And the other question was, why do we need one? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
So when I think of why do you need a doula? Like when you think about having somebody in your life that pretty much knows everything, like in my world, fertility and baby, everything from preconception all the way to postpartum, somebody who just drops everything when you call, somebody who allows your partner to just step back and really just enjoy whatever that experience is that you're going through without any extra pressure. Like that's what I think of a doula, like somebody who just gives their all to you in that time of need to give you all the information and the support that you need from preconception all the way through postpartum.
Yeah. How about you? Okay, Ed, you are a unicorn amongst tiny little ponies, ma'am. So you are a nurse. So I want to highlight this part. So you are a nurse and you are a doula. Yeah. And so look, I'll speak frankly. It's not always that nurses value the presence of a doula. And so you, ma'am, you are one in the same. And I'm a huge cheerleader for Nurse Eb. But like, do I address you as a nurse this evening? Do I call you doula? What is it that you need from me, Eb?
Honestly, you can call me whatever makes you feel comfortable. You can say Nurse Eb, you can say Doula Eb, you can say Doula Nurse Eb, like however makes you feel comfortable. Because honestly, when I work with my clients, it's the way you address me, as long as you don't say anything negative or derogatory, is not like my main concern. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable, that you get what you need. And so as far as being a doula, to me, what a doula is literally, your doula, like, we encompass so many things, and people, I don't think they always understand the value of a doula. And there are a lot of people who still don't know what a doula actually is and what we actually do, which is why, of course, we had dinner with the doulas. And like, a doula is literally, they're like your continuous support. So I'm not your friend that's popping over like, hey girl, you dilated yet? Okay, no, okay, I'll see you later in a couple of hours. I'm not leaving constantly. It's a continuous support. And the studies out there, all the research, it shows that women do better during labor when they have continuous support, and continuous support that's not medical staff, that's not your nurse, that's not your family, that's not your significant other or your partner. Like literally someone whose sole purpose is to support the birthing person. Like that's literally our sole purpose while we're there. Like as a nurse, I know specifically you're charting, you have so many other priorities, so many other things and responsibilities that you have to do. Your nurse is not in there the entire time, guys. We're all doulas. We know the nurses are not in there during the entire labor. They're in and out. They're checking on mom. They're fixing the fetal monitor. They're accompanying the provider when they're doing cervical checks, but they're not there continuously. So, I mean, it's literally like someone who's there for you, someone who has your back, someone who makes sure that your voice is heard, that you can have the things that you want, that enforces your birth plan, that reminds you of the things that you wanted prior to becoming so vulnerable. And even when people say, well, you know, I have my husband or my boyfriend or my partner and my spouse, and it's like, I understand that, but a lot of times what people don't know is that sometimes you can put so much pressure on them, they don't really always know what to do. And as a doula, we're there to guide them. Like Nicole said, we're not going to take their place, but we're there to guide them, to help them, and to assure them, like, we are all here as a partnership, like it's a tribe. It's a dance that we're all doing together.
Yes.
And we want to make sure that you're safe and baby's safe. And why do you need one? I mean, if I think about labor and what everyone says about it, all the videos that we've seen, why would you want to do that alone? Like, why would you do that by yourself? I wouldn't want to do that by myself. I wouldn't want to do it alone. Not to mention, you need comfort, you need support, you need someone to help you focus. And so that's what your doula is there for, because when you have comfort and support and focus, it really helps to distract you from the pain. I'm not going to tell you that it's not uncomfortable, but imagine constantly focusing in on the pain versus having something or someone to distract you from the pain. And so, I mean, we can talk about, you want me to give you some numbers? You want me to talk about the statistics? Because we can.
No, don't hit it with the statistics yet. Don't hit it with the statistics yet. Because the statistic, like, and that's what I love, is that the statistics are real. You know, I've actually had a client who questioned me. They were like, you know, you really sound like a conspiracy theorist. And I was like, no, ma'am. I've really just seen too much. You know, I've seen too much. And at this point, it's navigating the normal potholes. These potholes are there for everybody. The problem is that there are certain people who are more likely to fall into these potholes. And Eb, I think you said it really great. Nicole, I think you touched on it as well. Like, we're not there to take the place of anybody else. You know, like, I'm not there to replace a doctor. I'm not there to replace a nurse and or a loved one. You know, what I'm there is as an extra set of hands. And I love being able to operate from that servant perspective, and not servant in like a derogatory, you know, place and stuff like that. But someone, like, if you think best friend and then you say best friend who is skilled in this area, you know what I mean? Because I got homegirls. Look, I got homegirls where, I'm taking off my earrings, I know who to call. You know what I mean? Right. I got homegirls who, if I need a new pair of shoes, I know who to call. Now, like, a doula is just that homegirl you call when you birthing, you know what I mean? And so it's not to replace anybody and stuff like that, but this is just a skilled person in regards to birth. And then when you're able to my main focus always in a birthing time is to bring the family together. I think it's so important that the way a child comes into the world is covered in love. You know what I mean? Like, it's covered, like, and no matter what that family unit looks like, you know, even if it's mom just by herself, because I've had moms who were by themselves, and I'm like, all right, baby, well, we about to, you know, we're about to cover this all, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a way to empower a woman who is single in her birthing time as well, so she doesn't feel alone. And so what a doula is, what is a doula? Like, it's an extra pair of hands. It's an extra pair of hands that are specific for birth. It's not, and it's never like, I don't feel, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like a doula's place is ever to tell you what you need to do. Oh, you need to, you know, like, I think a doula's position is always to give you as much as the big picture as you can stomach at the time. I think that's important too, because sometimes we go burst open that big picture and it can really damage some people, you know. And I think that's when we get into like fear mongering in the labor and delivery conversation and stuff like that. But you open up the picture as wide as they can go at the time, and then you allow the person, like me as the doula, I allow the person to pick up what they need, you know, like, this is what I need for this season. And this is, you know, everything else, I can't take that right now, you know, and it doesn't mean, I think it's very important for the doula to know that it doesn't mean that what you're not giving them isn't good, but if they can't stomach it at the time, it's important that you allow that space for them to grow into what they need for that season, because they are the one that has to carry that weight forward and stuff like that. So Great conversation. We have to figure out how we condense that, because that's a good question. We have to come back to it a couple times and stuff like that, because I think repetition is the key to adult education. And so we have to rehearse that and get it and condense it, because it's heavy, that topic. Okay. So my first question, y'all, I got my question somewhere. Y'all didn't know I could sing. Watch out for me.
The singing doula.
Oh, I will sing to you. All right, cool. All right. So the first question I had, check this out. So the first question I had was, can you get pregnant with PCOS? And I'm going to add in endometriosis, fibroids. So I know we all work in fertility. So who wants to take this question? Nicole, I know you opened the last one. So Ev, jump into this.
What I want to say is when we talk about PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, all those things, let me just first say that you're not, from what I've researched and all that, we're not born that way. So these are things that kind of develop. And so what I want women and other people who have uterus to understand is that a lot of this, and I'm very big on holistic health and wellness. So a lot of things are just a lot of inflammation in our bodies, the environment that we're in, the food that we eat, things that we put into our bodies. We'll touch on this in another dinner with doulas, but there's a lot of emotional and there's a lot of womb trauma that we hold on to. Like our area here, like this womb, this pelvic area, it is huge for holding on to like different energies and different traumas. And this is where most women and people with uterus, this is where it's all concentrated. So you talk about having like a womb that's so congested with so much. So when you have all these things going on, that can be the issue as to why it's hard for you to sustain a pregnancy. So I don't want you to kind of tag onto a diagnosis of I have PCOS, so I can't do this, or I have endometriosis, so I can't do this, or I have fibroids, so I can't do this. One quick thing about fibroids, when we're adding a lot of extra hormone, I've known several people to develop fibroids from that specifically. And so again, this is congestion of the womb. So we have to literally get into how can we reduce the inflammation in our womb? What can we do about decongesting our womb? And just understanding that, I mean, from how I feel about life, I don't think there's anything that's impossible. I do believe that we all have our different set of challenges, but I also feel as though we can give our best possible shot to get the best outcome that we want and that we deserve. So.
I love that. I love that. Man, womb trauma, oh man. Nicole, what's your answer? What's your quick answer? What you got on that?
So I think I'm just going to tag on to sort of what Ebony was going down to. Definitely womb trauma. And I think the big thing about PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, and any inflammation in the womb is usually it's not curable, but it's definitely treatable. And yes, that tag that's put on people of infertile, I don't like the word anyway. It's a fertility challenge. And when I think of a challenge of any sort, that means it's something that you can overcome. And so yes, sit back and look at, same thing that you're saying is like, what is creating this? What's creating the toxicity within your womb that is keeping you from being able to conceive? And the top thing for all three of those, weight loss, healthy diet, just the simple things. If you can reduce just your weight, usually 5 to 10%, you're already pushing yourself in a whole different area of being able to conceive a lot easier and naturally than you would have previously been able to do. And then on top of that, part of that toxicity is mindset. I think all of us, we've recently really learned as fertility coaches, like, if you have cobwebs and roadblocks emotionally, mentally, psychologically, it goes down to the cellular level of your body. You are putting so much weight on your organs, on your tissues, on your cells, and that is creating all this muddy, water is how I think of it, sort of within your womb. Your fertility system, gets all junked up just because of simple things like what you're eating, how you're sleeping, what you're thinking day in and day out, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So really just cleaning up a lot of your lifestyle really allows you to overcome those challenges, to be able to push you from infertile, into fertile and being able to conceive and have a healthy baby. So definitely not something that keeps you from having children.
Look, I like everything you guys are saying is super, super encouraging. And I'm gonna put the little cherry on top of all of it. When I was 23 years old, I was diagnosed with PCOS. I had struggled with maintaining a proper cycle since I was 11. And they diagnosed me with infertility. They told me I had PCOS, and they told me I would never have kids unless I was medically treated in order to produce children. And I could stand here today and I say, like, I got 4 babies that I conceived all naturally, birthed all naturally. Like, I never needed medical intervention for any of their lives to be in this world. And it was really like, I can't remember who said it, but it was clearing out the cobwebs of my womb, recognizing that there was so much build up, you know what I mean? Just build up over the years and stuff like that. That was really just unhealthy. And key point, you guys are recognize what I'm about to say. And I had to come out of stress and anxiety and into peace and pleasure in order to actually produce. And a lot of people see me and they're like, oh, Jen, she's always smiling. Nothing goes wrong in her world. And this is a learned behavior because my previous character was nothing like this. And I held on a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment, and it didn't produce anything positive in my life. So that's just my story, y'all. But if you're like me, you hear it in the atmosphere, grab it down for yourself and stuff like that, and walk in whatever it is that you need to walk in for this season. So next question. So I've gotten some questions in. And the first question, so that was the first question. The next one is pregnancy related. And the question is, the next one is pregnancy related. And it says, discomforts of pregnancy, how do you address them? So that's a broad topic because pregnancy spans the length of 10 months, right? 40 weeks, 10 months. And so how would you address pregnancy discomfort? Just pick one or two.
A lot of women complain of like having a lot of morning sickness in the first trimester.
Good. Yeah.
So I can say, just kind of thinking about clients that I've had, one thing that of course we recommend, like if you come holistically, because I've seen people get Zofran and all those things, but if you don't want to take a pharmaceutical or a tablet, then holistically you can try things like ginger, like actually like a piece of ginger or like ginger tea. And when you talk about teas, just make sure that they're not full of like what I say crap. Like make sure that you can read the ingredients. You know what I mean? So like ginger tea, just finished my herbal training and learning about peach leaves and how that's really helpful also with morning sickness and nausea. And one other thing, if women can take a look at their protein intake, how much protein they're taking in, that has been shown to be very helpful with combating like nausea and morning sickness. Also mint, like mint tea and those things. So I know that's one thing that's kind of, and people complain of like being tired and those things. And drink water, guys. Like that's the simplest move that we can make with anything in life. But water is definitely really good for women or people, birthing persons, people who are pregnant, yes. Because you want to keep your uterus hydrated. A dehydrated uterus, cramping, early contractions, you don't want that. So I say
that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So I got one question to what you said. You said the herbal teas. You mentioned protein. So now is it a matter of having too much protein that might make you nauseous or having too little protein that might make you nauseous?
Most often with pregnant persons, it's a deficiency of something, because we have to remember like it's two of you now. So you're no longer prepping your body for one or eating for one or so it's two now. So it's most often a deficiency of something.
Oh, I like that statement on it, recognizing that nausea is a response from the body. It's a response from the body because there's a deficiency somewhere. And most people just equate it like, oh, I'm pregnant, this is what happens. But I think, so this is one of the things that I'm very big on, is really coming on an internal level and getting to know ourselves, understanding that your body is always sending you feedback loops, right? It's always like nothing happens in the body on accident, So when we realize that, okay, so if I'm experiencing this symptom, then what is it trying to communicate? What is my body? I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Nicole, what you got? What would be one or two pregnancy discomforts that you would address?
I think one of the biggest ones I often see is women just complaining of, it's either like back or like pelvic aching towards like that third trimester. And then, belly bands are not that supportive. Like people automatically like, oh, I got this belly band, but I'm still, hurting. And because, the way we're moving, how are we moving? So what I would say usually is exercise. I'm always like exercise, get yourself ready for labor, get yourself ready for birth.
Yeah.
And then also getting something that goes beyond just a simple belly band that you get from a store. I'm really big on like grabbing, whether it's like a rebozo or some sort of fabric where you can actually like wrap your body by hand and sort of pulling some of that up, and it helps support your back. It helps support those pelvic muscles, your pelvic floor. So that's probably like the number one thing that I've been getting recently, is just like everything third trimester, everything hurts. So.
Yeah. So interesting that you went there, because that's exactly where I was going to go. But so belly bands, I don't really suggest, but I'm not sure. So I think there's an actual product called belly bands. Yeah. But I was always under the impression that belly bands was simply to make sure that your belly wasn't hanging out when your shirt rolled up, because I don't know if I'm the only pregnant girl like that. Like none of my clothes fit. Like I'm guaranteed to be like doing some belly flashing and stuff like that. So I thought that specific product, belly bands, were just to cover up the belly in case your shirt rolled up. What I normally suggest is the pregnancy belt, which is similar but not the same. They're similar in the sense that they do cover that midsection, but they're not the same in the sense they usually come with a very tight fitting Velcro adhesive. And so like when you lift your belly up, you tighten it up underneath the belly. It does provide a significant amount of support. And they do make some with shoulder straps, which I think is also like, it can seem kind of extra, but it is really good. I think the best exercise to suggest from that platform would then be the cat-cow, where your hips and your buttocks are up high, your knees and your feet are below, and you simply arch your back like a cat, and then you allow it to hang like a cow. We call them the cat-cows. I think some people call them different things and stuff. And then the figure eight, allowing your hips to really get like all of that movement. I think it's so important to keep our body moving. And for the exact same points that Nicole mentioned, is that like we keep our body moving in order to prepare for delivery. And a lot of times we listen to I got a thing against old wives' tale. We listen to the old wives' tale that say, oh, we need to, like, if we're pregnant, we need to have our feet kicked up somewhere. Like, no, ma'am, like, go ahead and do what it is that you can do. Speaking back to Eb's reference in regards to nausea, like, look, nausea, you can't push through nausea all the time and stuff like that. But there are, and sometimes you get extreme exhaustion and stuff like that. You can't push through everything. But if every single day you walled up on the couch and stuff like that, like at some point you have to start moving your body. And sometimes moving your body will address the nausea, will address the exhaustion. Like sometimes just getting in motion will help. So I would say the pregnancy belt, avoid the belly bands, because the specific product that's only to cover up the belly. That's not really helpful. And then exercise. I think those were two really great points, Nicole. Next time I'm gonna make sure that I come with a different answer. You really stumped me. I was like, dang, you took my answer, Nicole. I'm gonna have to start jumping in the middle.
When you talk about like pregnancy, like the belt, the support belt, I think of something like that, but I think I actually pulled up my picture because I just sent this out yesterday, but I don't know if you can see it. See how it's
it's actually.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually like wrapping fabric around and creating that support. So then
the tension that holds up the belly.
Yeah, it's adjustable and then it's pliable. So because when I think about the belt and the Velcro, and then you're moving and then you're uncomfortable. So having something like pliable. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, okay, so check this out. So I'm gonna go a little bit nerdy on y'all. Explain why, because Eb did a good job with explaining like why somebody might be nauseous. Explain why somebody might be experiencing that, like the heaviness in the belly and stuff like that. What exactly is going on in the body? Because I think it's really important to know what's happening in the body in order to address what's happening in the body.
Right. I think what I see, the number one thing is the separation of your pelvic muscles. You have, and I always say this word wrong, so just correct me. The diastasis recti. Did I say that right? Is that right?
I think that's right.
Diastasis. I've heard diastasis.
Yeah. So I'm like, I never know. But yeah, which is just the separation. So being able to recognize like your pelvic muscles, your stomach muscles, all of that, your organs are shifting, everything's happening in there to make room for baby. And so in that, there's going to be discomfort. It's your body getting ready for like the big event. So there's going to be discomfort, but like we said, exercise. As soon as I start talking to people, my number two things: water, exercise, and then some more water. But making sure that, that's a constant thing. Move, like you said, move the whole pregnancy. Don't sit still, because when we sit there, especially like when we're uncomfortable, that's what we tend to do, is like ball up and just like be all tight in a corner somewhere, try to relax. But no, like you need to be loose, you need to be moving, get on your birth ball, get out and walk, just simple things. And then doing some pelvic floor exercises if you realize like your core is not as strong as it possibly could be, and possibly even reaching out to like a pelvic floor specialist to do some exercises and get some work done, pre or postnatal. So
yeah. Okay, so look, I can't be the host every night because I like to talk. Okay, so we're gonna have to switch off because people are gonna be like, man, she's still talking. All right, so check this out. So when we are addressing like the pregnancy discomforts, I'm gonna jump into the next topic, I promise you. When we are addressing the pregnancy discomforts, I think it's really important to understand, like when we start saying like exercise is the answer to the discomfort, why is exercise the answer to the discomfort? Like Nicole mentioned some really great points, like the abdominal muscles are shifting, the lower abdominal muscles are shifting, they have a lot of weight, your pelvic floor may not be that strong, but we're also preparing for labor. And so if you get so comfortable during pregnancy, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be unfamiliar to you when you are actually in your labor time. And I think the biggest challenge I find is that most people, like in this modern age, of like how we live now and stuff like that, most people are not very familiar with moving their body. Like not everybody works out every day and stuff. And so when they finally get pregnant and the first answer is like, go exercise, it's like, wait, what? And so it kind of throws things for a loop and stuff like that. And so I think it's really important that like overall, not even just in pregnancy, not even just in postpartum, that we as women get used to, honoring this body that we've been given and stuff like that, and making sure that we're taking care of it by drinking water. That stuff is so vital, like in pregnancy, in your fertility season, in your postpartum season, like knowing that our body is more than 75% water and stuff like that. Like that one factor actually has a lot to do with other areas of our life. Now, okay, so I'm gonna go back to the questions, y'all. So the next question is, go ahead.
Before you go back to the question, I just want to add something about the discomfort. I think people also forget that they need to kind of pay attention to the digestion. because if you're not eating correctly, you're not having bowel movements, you know, the way that you should. And so when your colon is, you know, when it's full, you're going to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Because everything's pressing on that. Not to mention, guys, you got to remember, like, your uterus is growing, like it's expanding. So of course, everything's uncomfortable. So a small thing you can do is make sure that your bowels are regular. And one great thing, of course, we keep saying it, but water hydrates your bowels. And it's a simple thing you can do versus having to take Colace or Miralax or those things. Like, just keep your bowels hydrated. And so, you know, that's going to get released as well. So just for discomfort.
Absolutely. Okay. So I got another question here. It says, what is the best, listen, y'all, what is the best position to birth in? What would you say to that?
Not laying on your back.
Come on.
Not lying on your, lying on your back. Because you sit something down, lie, you still recline backward, right? So do not lie on your back. Because I mean, we use this analogy a lot. It was like, would you poop on your back? Like, do you think you can like get it out comfortably on your back? Not to mention, gravity is our friend.
Yes.
We use the baby and the body to work together. It's a little dance that we're doing. We want gravity to help us pull baby down. Like, it is just not an optimal position. And I remember a video I was watching. A mom, she was lying flat on her back. She was trying so hard to get the baby out. Not only was she lying flat on her back, they were holding her legs and they're telling her to push. She's not breathing. She's holding her breath and she's pushing. And she's pushing, but they're pulling her legs backward. And she's flat on her back. So what part of that is going to get the baby out? And then people always say, you know, well, I ripped or I had to have an episiotomy. Like, well, maybe if they allowed you to lean forward, even get in semi-Fowler, stand up, get on all fours, squat, something besides lying flat on your back. If I'm flat and something's trying to come out, it'll be better if I can let this gravity pull the baby down. Of course, I'm probably going to have to cut you or perform an episiotomy. And I've even seen, you know, people like inside almost. Like, I personally don't feel as though that is necessary. I'm one of those people, let's try all the low intervention things first before we do so many other things that we necessarily didn't have to do. So I'm not a fan of lying flat on your back. Even if you're in the bed, I'm not telling you that you can't be in the bed. Obviously, for some reason, a lot of people have to be in the bed, but at least have them to put you in semi-Fowler so that you're just at least leaning forward and sitting up some. So,
ma'am, so you are a nurse and you just said semi-Fowler.
I am so sorry. That is basically when your head of the bed is up forward. So you're not necessarily like 90 degrees, but you're at least like here.
Okay.
So
okay.
Like
That's good.
So at least your head is up, you can breathe, your lungs are, you know, they can expand, those things. So
yeah, absolutely. No, I'm jumping in now. Okay. So what was the question?
So I want to see the pelvis example that was going through your head.
Yeah, bring it up.
Come on now. I'll give you a reason to take these hips out. You know, I got kids now, so I got to behave around the house. But so when I get a chance, I get my hips out. So when she talks about not lying on laying on the back, right? The reason why is because this right here would be the spine. And so if we are laying straight down, baby is then compressed on all of the organs. And so from that position, if you can see here, this is the tailbone. The tailbone stays in an upright position. Now, what she means by when we get in an upright position, so we take mom laying flat on her back, it also intensifies. Look, you take a uterus that is contracting and you lay it on top of the body with baby, no place to go. We're intensifying that pain, right? And so when we take it and we sit it up, right, it then gives the belly somewhere to go. It allows that space right there, but then it also gives mom an opportunity to naturally widen her squat posture. And I don't mean you have to be squatting, but your squat posture where you sit with a wide open position. And what that does is when you squat, it takes these hips and it opens them up. And if you could watch this side as well as this side, So when we squat, we open that vaginal canal, and it's really the hips that we're opening. And then we also allow room for the tailbone to also lean back. Essentially, in the squatted position, you actually open up so much room for you and for baby versus closing everything down when you're lying on your back. When you're lying on your back, you close everything down, you intensify your pain. If you are going for a natural birth, I mean an unmedicated birth, from that posture, it's very, very difficult to get it. It is very likely you will need some form of assistance. You know, I've been in births where the conversation was had, hey, mom has to stay flat on her back because I can't use forceps in any other position, you know, and that's that. And that I'm not saying that as a fearful tactic. I'm saying that as an informative tactic, that sometimes we are placed in these positions, not because it's best for mom and best for baby, but it's best for the physician that's there and stuff like that. Understanding how your body works will then help you to adjust in the situation, not from a combative place, but from an informative place. I understand my body and I know what it needs. When you have a greater capacity of what your body needs, then you have a better chance to giving it just that, and you birth so much smoother. Yeah. Okay, Nicole, jump in.
Preach.
Come on.
The only thing I would add to that is my big thing always to my clients is just listen to your body. You know, if you're listening to your body, you're not going to end up on your back. It's simple. You know, listen to your body, follow what your body says. There's a natural instinct that takes over as we're birthing that is going to put you in the position that works the best for you, that works the best for your baby, in order to be able to deliver without all the assistance that you're mentioning. So if you're listening to your body, you're never going to land on your back with your legs up in stirrups. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So
it's an unnatural position to be in.
Right. So, and those births where, you know, even you have the medical staff that are saying the same thing, the nurse is saying, just follow your body, listen to your body. I want to be in there and I'm like cheering, like, yes, they get it. Like, finally, you know, so, you know, I'm a big person when we're talking about in like prenatals, like listen to your body all through labor, all through birth, listen, and just follow whatever your body's saying to do it. There's nothing that is strange in birth. It doesn't matter if you are hanging from the ceiling to deliver your baby. I'm not looking at you sideways. Do it. If it's going to get your baby here safely and soundly, then that's what you do. Listen to your body.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just glad she brought it up because I really want people to really, really understand that listening to your body. And I talk about this early on because you never know what happens and who you're with when you get into that delivery room. I literally had a nurse tell my client, and I quote, I know people say that you should listen to your body, but you don't always know what your body needs. You don't always know everything. And of course, she's saying this because the doula's there, right? And she know we're like, listen to your body. And I'm just looking at her, and then the client's like, I'm just like, you're fine. Listen to your body. Here's the part about that bothers me as a nurse. You're a nurse and you're telling this person not to listen to their body. If we didn't listen to our bodies, then if we take our finger and we touch fire, there sends a signal up our spinal cord to our brain that says, hey, that's fire. You need to move your hand. And then you move your hand because what your mind tells your body to move your hand, right? So if you're not listening to what's, you see how that just doesn't make sense and it's so contradictory. However, what happens when you get in some settings, you have your plan, they have their plan, you know, and the doula being there, like, listen to your body is not always the plan when somebody's like, I want to go home at, you know, a certain time. I want this birth to be over. But
there you go.
Yeah. Look, okay. So I think we touched on that piece before about listening to your body. Like pregnancy is really a great time to get to know yourself in a different way, like to check those feedback loops. What is my body saying right now? And I think I'll say it like that. I think it's controlling and manipulative when you tell someone not to listen to their own body, but to then listen to them, you know, because like essentially like, Eb, like you are external to me, but I ought to trust you on what my body needs to do. You know what I mean? Like, I think, and that's why I work in childbirth education. You know, that's my jam right there. When I get to sit down and talk to people about what's really going on in their body, you know, it's not so that I can tell them what to do. It's so that they can begin to listen to their own body and then recognize like, oh, wait, okay, so I feel that. But what if I do this? You know what I mean? And what if I do that? And then, you know, and then it begins to create this this harmony, you know what I mean? This harmony between you and self, you know, if that's even a thing, you know. And then once we become real in tune with us, it allows baby to then jump into that same rhythm. I'm a huge advocate of talking to baby in labor, you know what I mean? Like talking to baby, period, but talking to baby when you're in labor. Look, this is what we're doing. All right. I'm gonna need you to shift. I'm gonna go this way. You go left. You know what I mean? Like just so it's, you know, it's a rhythm. It's a dance, you know, essentially. Yeah, I love that. I love that, Eb. I love that. Let me jump us back on because we have been on here. Look, I'm giving us some grace because we got on late. It was about 17 minutes of feedback.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah. Okay. So pregnancy discomforts, what's the best position of birth? And we answered both of them. Look, I think we did it, y'all. I don't think I see any. Oh,
there was one more.
There's one more question. There's one more question that came in. It says, oh, this is a good one. At what point in your pregnancy does your doula become active? That's how it was written. It said active. And so those quotes can mean a whole lot of things. And so y'all, however you feel led to answer that, at what point in your pregnancy does your doula become active?
Go ahead. No, Nicole, go ahead.
So I think, you know, when I think of active, there's two ways I take that. Either when are you going to hire your doula, or when are they going to become active after you've already hired them. So on both sides of that, you want to hire your doula as soon as possible, and hopefully, you know, by the time you're about 4 or 5 months is like ideal time, just because you want to build that relationship and be able to just foster the relationship. And like we were saying earlier, you know, you want the pregnancy best friend, like, you know, that's what you want. You want to be able to cultivate that. And then there's never a too late time though to hire a doula at all. Like you don't want to call them when you're in labor. I've had that happen before. I've been hired while they're in the hospital at 2 a.m. calling me crying because they're getting pushed to a C-section. But you don't want to wait that long, but you do want to, you know, try to get in as early as possible, but there's not like a deadline to hire a doula. And then as far as once you've hired the doula, when do they become active in your pregnancy? Hopefully your doula becomes active on the day that you hire them. Like you want them right away. So there is not a time, like there's not a waiting period, I don't think, to become active in pregnancy. The day I'm hired is the day that I'm now active and part of your birth team. So.
Yeah, that's good. How about you, Eb? What's your philosophy on when to become active?
I'm more of a sooner than later person, because literally, how do they say it? Failing to plan is planning to fail type of thing. So I'm more of I know a lot of people like to get through the first trimester for all types of reasons, and I highly respect that. But I feel like whenever you're thinking about it, you know, when you start to interview doulas, start to do your research, talk to different ones, see who you kind of connect with, who you flow with a lot more. I like to start early on because I'm really big with like giving you guys information, because I want you to make an informed decision. And people have this notion that all doulas want you to be outside in the grass, barefooted, squatting, having a baby. That is not true. That is not true. Like I've had clients with the epidural. Like, I mean, there's, you know, natural epidural, assisted, whatever's the case, but we just want to give you the information so that you can make a decision that you want to make from an informed place, not from manipulation, not because of scare tactics, not because you're ill-informed, just because you say, you know, I know I have all the information about this, but I want to do it this way. That's totally fine. Here to support you. So I like to give information early on, because I find in the latter months, moms are tired. They're exhausted. They're starting to be over it. So trying to feed you all this information is just not, it's not ideal. So in the last couple months, I really want to work with you on like positioning, comfort texting, advocating. I'm making sure that you feel comfortable, you know, enforcing the birth plan. Of course, I'm there to help you enforce that, but just making sure that we kind of go over, like, especially if we're going to be in a hospital or a birthing center where we are, you know, rehearsing how things are going to go, just kind of focusing in on those things. And of course, giving you information throughout the pregnancy, but I try to do more review towards the end and just kind of giving you more information and tools and resources that you need more towards the beginning of your pregnancy. Because, and I'm also not the 2 prenatal visits, birth, 1 postpartum, I don't know you and see you anymore doula either. I'm not the doula who just likes to run in, who hasn't had a prenatal visit. Like, you could have so many different things going on. You could be high risk, you could have BP things. It could be something, you could have anxiety. I may not know that. And then I just run into the room. How can I be helpful in that situation? You know, so I like to get to know my clients prior to, so that when we are in the delivery room, we have a connection. I can look at you and tell something may not be wrong. I can tell, like, she's kind of at her end. You can just say a couple of words to me and I kind of know, like, no, she's not feeling this or she's not feeling that. So I like to have a little connection with my families prior to going into the delivery room, because when you're in that delivery room, you have to be on one accord, because there are times where even though you've been told your whole pregnancy, oh yeah, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, you get in that delivery room, things may change, because you have some women who see different providers throughout their pregnancy, and it's not even the provider that's going to deliver their baby. So I just like to make sure they have, you know, the information that they need so that we can have the best possible outcome.
And you bring up some, like, great points. Like, I want to break down every section that you talked about, because it's just like, it makes so much sense. So I'm going to say, normally, if I am working with somebody as a doula, I'm a 3rd trimester kind of doula. You know what I mean? Like, hit me up in the beginning of your 3rd trimester and we'll wrap it out. I can shoot from the hip, but you make some great points. You know what I mean? But also, I'm also very familiar with my clients, especially more recently. Like, usually I will do childbirth education in the 2nd trimester and then lead into the 3rd trimester. And me personally, I don't like going into the birth room unless I've sat down with you in childbirth education. You know what I mean? And so I'm kind of a package deal kind of person. Like, you hire me in the 2nd trimester, and that's great, as long as I'm able to sit down. And me, I'm sneaky with all my information. Not sneaky. I'm strategic with all my information. So even if you hire me just for a doula, like, I'm gonna make sure that I hit you with the key points that I would normally teach you in the full childbirth education, because there are certain truths that I think it would be helpful to support your birth plan. So not sneaky in a manipulative way, but sneaky in the point, like I'm gonna get the education in there, make sure that you're good to go. So when and I guess, so active, when would you become active? So the way I heard that question, I was thinking, like, when is doula on call? So I would normally say 36 weeks, you know what I mean? Like, cause around 37 weeks is, you know, green light, go, baby could come any day. And so about 36 weeks is normally when I, you know, put my turbo booster doula activation powers on and stuff like that, you know, where I'm fully available to my to the families that I'm working with and stuff like that, where we're checking in more frequently. If I'm doing childbirth education, normally it's like, I'll see you for the weeks that I'm instructing. And then from that perspective, if you hire me on for your doula, then we meet once a month in order to maintain that contact, maintain that communication. And towards that 3rd trimester, we start meeting more frequently and stuff in order to bring the vision into alignment so that I know what you need, so I know how to address it, so I know any triggers. I've walked into trigger situations where maybe there was toxicity in the relationship, but everybody was going to be in the room during the birthing time. You know, hey, everybody's story is different, but the doula, if she is there to support, she has to be prepared for what may be lurking. And then also understanding that if you have a birth plan, your significant other may not know how to keep you in line with it. And 9 times out of 10, we always want that significant other to be postured to be sensitive to suffering. At any point, if they think you're suffering, we want them to be like, oh, no, wait, we have to do something else because now they're suffering. Now it's different when a doula who is skilled in birth, recognizing this is not suffering, this is labor. You know what I mean? Because even as a doula, we have to be able to identify the difference between suffering and birth, because those look very, very different. It is very possible for someone to suffer through labor, even if it's the labor that they wanted. And sometimes they suffer through labor because it turns out to be a labor they don't want. And so having an extra set of hands is always a valuable tool, a valuable option. And so I would implore you during this Women's Week. You know what? We didn't even start with that. It's International Women's Week. Come on, it's International Women's Week. And this is why we're here, Dinner with the Doulas, to celebrate y'all, to inform y'all, to answer questions, to just be a safe source of information. We love all the support. We love all the questions that have been dropping in and stuff like that. And any question we did not get to tonight, we will be sure to answer in next week's. Hey, Eb, that one question in regards to affirmations,
yes.
Do you remember it?
I think it was along the lines of, do you recommend affirmations, or why should you do affirmations? I think it was more of a why.
Yes. Why do we do affirmations?
So,
2-second answer on that. Why do we do?
Okay. Affirmations are bringing, what you want into your reality. It helps you pull it in so you can see it, so that it's tangible. If you're spiritual, we know faith is the evidence of things things hoped for is the evidence of things not seen. So you're pulling that in. So literally, and plus your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake. So what's reality and what's not reality. So when you do those affirmations, you think about how it makes you feel. It releases those endorphins. You feel amazing. So continue to say those affirmations, because what happens is those feelings that you feel, you're going to reconnect with that during labor, and how you feel and how you was feeling when you were doing those affirmations. Not to mention, it's kind of like, in affirmations such as, I am in control of my body. My body knows what it needs. Every contraction I take is getting me closer to seeing my baby. That's going to make you feel good. Not to mention, it's such a great distraction to help you during labor, and it keeps your mind in a focused zone. Because if you can zone out, you can do a lot of things when you zone out. So.
Oh, I love it. So we're going to jump into, so we will be back in 2 weeks. Ed, so look, I apologize, Nicole, I apologize. I may have messed up on my timing. I think I do have another appointment next Wednesday. So we'll be back in 2 weeks on Wednesday, and we will introduce that topic of affirmations, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into them, why we do them, and what's the results of doing them. So if y'all got a quick shout out before we leave, Nicole, you got anything to say?
I don't really have anything major to say. I want to say thank you. This was amazing. I think, we were literally just chatting and creating this. And I've been excited to do it. So I'm even more excited because we've got over the first one. And so I'm enjoying it. And I just really enjoy, the conversation. I think it's really important that we have it. I think it's important that it get out there, that our families hear, just from our perspective, just the different things, and let them know they're not alone in these journeys where sometimes you feel like you are, especially in this season of COVID and isolation. You can have that support that you need, that continuous support that you need. So I just want to say thank you to y'all, because I have learned tonight. So that's always nice when you learn too. And so this has been great. So I just say, like you said, we're coming back in a couple of weeks. So hit us with the questions. We still want to have great conversation around them. And that is it.
Yes. What you got, Nurse M?
I would just like to say thank you. I don't know if you guys know who Pastor Frederick is, but I remember him saying one time, you know how sometimes we get up and we complain. He said, but instead of saying I have to do this, you understand from a gratitude perspective that I get to do this. And so for me, it's just from a place of gratitude. I'm grateful to be able to do this work. It's what I love. I know it's my life's purpose. And I'm grateful that, you know, we all, because literally life happens and people come into your life for a reason, even if it was just to meet, to do this right here, we're doing it. I'm so grateful to put the information out there, because so many families, they don't have the information. You know, people perish for lack of knowledge, and knowledge is power. And so I feel like anytime you can get all this information to make a better decision, I'm all for it. And so just being able to have this platform to do this, I'm honored. And I can't wait to come back in a couple of weeks.
Yes, yes, yes. Ev, I'm gonna take that statement. I'm gonna take that statement and I'm gonna refine it just a little bit. You said knowledge is power. Everything else I agree with. Everything else, like people perish for lack of knowledge, all that. Knowledge is power. I'm gonna put one on it. I'm gonna put action is power. See, because people could sit here, look, don't sit here and listen to us talk and don't apply what we've said. Like there's a reason why we do it. Like literally the reason why we are doulas is because our culture has come to a place in which we do not know how to accurately support one another. And so women are positioned to birth in ways that are unnatural and unfruitful, in the sense that it doesn't breathe life onto her, where mom is birthing life and she is being drained of her excellence, you know, if I could say it like that, you know. And so we as doulas, we seek to stand by you, whatever season that you're in, whether it is fertility, pregnancy, birthing, postpartum, bereavement. We really do cover all the areas and stuff. And so it's always helpful to have an extra set of hands that are positive, that are working positively for your benefit and for your good. So thank you again for spending time with us, for taking your dinner break to chat with us and stuff like that. Please make sure you drop comments, drop questions, because we would love to see you when we come back in 2 weeks. We'll be back is it the 25th? Somebody check their calendar real quick. 24th. The 25th. Is it the 24th? The 24th, Wednesday, the 24th of March, we will set a time so that we can really, hold on, so that we can expand on National Doula Week. Come on, man. Talk about, we caught International Women's Day. We didn't catch it exactly, but we caught International Women's Day. Yeah, we caught it. I'm a type of person, I like to celebrate long. So it was Monday. I'm gonna be celebrating until next Monday. I'm with it. So National Doula Week is the week of
the 22nd.
The 22nd to the 28th. Yeah. Okay. So we'll be back that week, and we are really, really grateful to have y'all here with us. Okay. So y'all have a good night. And this has been Dinner with the Doula.